Micky Steinberg. Commissioner Steinberg is the Miami-Dade County Commissioner for District 4, and we'll get into what that district is. And also the CITT's new chairman, Robert Wolfarth, who's been a member now for several years and also represents District 4. So welcome, Commissioner. Welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so let's start there. What is District 4?
District 4 is comprised of 13 municipalities and unincorporated Miami-Dade. If you'd like, I can list
13 municipalities. So you have by far more than any other commissioner in your district.
I believe so, yes. Basically, either in all or in part, from Miami Beach all the way to the county line and all the municipalities.
All along the coast there. Right?
All along the coast and a little bit west, just pretty much the coastal communities in Miami-Dade County. And I'm proud of the district. It's a wonderful district, beautiful communities, and a lot of diversity and just a lot of wonderful constituents like the guy right over here to my right.
And so what are some of the things that District 4 is known for? What are some of the major landmarks, let's say, that people might associate it with?
Well, in District 4, we have a lot of historic districts, particularly in Miami Beach. And so we have, transportation issues that relate to that as well. And Miami Beach, I think, probably has one of the most successful trolley systems within Miami-Dade County. Right. Of the half-penny surtax, that, by the way, this is the 21st anniversary of the half-penny surtax, that voters voted to tax themselves. But along with that, they voted in conjunction with that to vote for the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, which is the watchdog to oversee that half-penny tax. And about a quarter of that half-penny tax goes towards the trolley systems. Miami Beach is very unique because it actually subsidizes its trolley system. They have a budget of about $9.5 million for their trolley system, and they get about a little over $5 million for PTP funds, and they actually have in their transit budget $4.5 million. And if you can compare it comparatively to the other 12 municipalities in District 4, we by far are a leader in the transportation system for trolleys. We have the South Beach Loop, we have Mid Beach, and we have the North Beach Loop.
Right, all fare free, right? And I think you could probably say the same for all of the municipal transit systems, trolleys or on-demand service.
Right, on-demand.
In all of your cities, I believe they're all fare free.
Yes,
That's my understanding.
Correct. And what's amazing is, I don't represent the entire city of Miami Beach. I share it with District 5 Commissioner Eileen Higgins, and she has the South Beach portion, and I have everything north of Dade Boulevard. So some of the landmarks may be 41st Street, just, that welcome sign over the Julia Tuttle Bridge, and the all the way north. So the trolley system, as he was talking about, when I was first on, I was first a Miami Beach commissioner for 8 years. And in that time, I was part of the commission that actually moved the trolley system forward, because it was so important to have the intra-city circulators.
Thank you for that.
Well, it's not just me, it was all of us collectively. And there was such a high demand that we expanded upon that. And we now have, as he said, all the different loops. And, we really have a strong workforce that uses those trolley systems. And of course, our visitors and families. It really is such a diverse group of people who use it. On demand is something that we also have as a supplemental. And all my cities are working towards finding alternate modes of transportation. Right. And whether it's looking at their planning from a planning perspective, it's not just when we talk about mobility, we're also talking about pedestrian, walkways, actual, not just shared, but protected bike lanes, transit. It's all an ecosystem.
Of course.
And it's just such a wonderful district that really looks with the eye of that solution of what can we do? And we now have the Northeast Corridor.
Very exciting that we just opened up not too long ago, the Brightline Station, which was very exciting because it's a public-private partnership with Brightline and with PTP funds, the half-penny surtax funds. We were able to complement the public-private partnership and be able to get that opened up.
This is the Aventura station.
This is the Aventura Brightline station. That's right. And so further to what Mickey was saying is that we now have Brightline that's coming into Miami Central. We have 5 more stations that are planned in between downtown and the Aventura station, so that we're going to be able to have some regional transit that goes through there to service a lot of the workers and a lot of the visitors that will be able to go to some of the neighborhoods like Wynwood and the Design District and Little Haiti and Bayou and further points north.
Right, so we're going to have this great combination, right? You have Brightline, which is providing more of that intrastate all the way to Orlando now, which you joined me on a ride for.
Correct, yeah.
And then eventually that's going to be complemented with more of a commuter-style train, right? That will then hit more of those kind of neighborhood stops that you just mentioned. So our investment was really, to cover that component, which hopefully will be coming in the near future. So very exciting. Do we know which neighborhoods that's going to serve at this point, Commissioner? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, there are stations already in the pipeline that they're looking to do from downtown, Midtown, the Wynwood area, Design District, North Miami, North Miami Beach, and Aventura. I mean, I may be missing a couple, but the gist there are going to be a few stops. And look, I think the more that we offer in terms of mobility and transit options, hopefully creates a culture where people get out of the car.
Yep.
But if they are going to have a car, I hope it's electric or hybrid.
Very important, right? Especially, with climate change. And let's talk about resiliency and climate change, because your district really is, in many ways, ground zero for a lot of those things being along the coastline. So what are your efforts in particular, in both individually and the district and your cities? What's going on with resiliency and making sure that we move forward in a more sustainable fashion?
Well, so first of all, thank you for that question. Obviously, it's a very important issue to me personally and for my district. The coastal communities are ground zero for sea rise, and we're seeing now king tides and sunny day flooding. And there's no one solution to it, but it's about making sure we're looking at our codes and making sure we're building resiliently and making sure that we're doing everything in the infrastructure side underneath, making sure we're updating our sewer, our sewer lines. Septic to sewer conversions are important. Which in my district, we have pockets that still are on septic, and we're working towards finding those solutions, and that could be a whole other
it's a whole other program.
It's a whole other program, because I have a lot of information on that. But and some of the things that we're doing as a county to help offset that. But we also have our stormwater mitigation, and that is, something that I'm working really hard with our cities. I actually just had a meeting last Friday. I'm really about wanting to work together with my communities and with my cities and with my colleagues across the county dais. But for my cities that I represent and for my unincorporated area, just this past Friday, I invited all of the 13 managers to my office so we can sit down and really discuss the issues and how I can be a resource, how the county can be a resource, how we can work together. Because I believe that the more we are together on the same page, the stronger our voice, the more we can get done, and really come from a place of how can we make this better? How can we make the quality of life for our communities better, for our residents better? And so it's been, and resiliency is of course a big issue, and so is traffic.
And they're all related, as we said. And I think you spoke earlier about, going electric, right? And that's not just on an individual basis, but the county, I know, is doing a lot to go electric.
They are, and working on, charging stations throughout. When I was in Miami Beach, I did champion a lot of those initiatives, charging stations at all new construction, requiring a percentage to have that EV ready, making sure that all new construction was either the equivalent of green, gold LEED certified or higher. Just so that we create that better building stock in our community.
Right. And then I'll throw in also, and we know this because we approved it at the CITT probably a couple of years ago now, is the all-electric bus fleet. Right?
Yeah, well, that's very exciting because we've now transitioned from diesel to hybrid, right? And so we have a huge fleet right now that's been replaced. So most of our fleet is pretty much new, and now we're transitioning into electric, which is even better. And as the technology gets better with electric, we'll be able to get more off and have less of a carbon footprint with the electric buses that we will have going forward.
Yeah, the evolution in that technology has been amazing. I mean, when you think about moving a bus of that size, carrying the passengers it does, And in our climate, having to run that air conditioning, right? And they're able to do so now, whereas just a few years ago, that technology didn't exist. So it's exciting times.
Yeah.
So, Robert, you just were elected chairman of the CITT. What are your priorities as chairman over these next couple of years under your tenure? What would you like to accomplish 2 years from now when you're looking back? What would you like your legacy to be?
Well, I'm very excited to have been elected chair, and I really thank former Sally Commissioner Hayman for appointing me 4 years ago to the trust, and for Commissioner Micky Steinberg for having the faith in me and reappointing me to represent District 4. I think one of the things that's really moved up and the high priority for us at the CITT is we've recently have 2 more vacancies, right? So we are 15 members, right? We have 13 of our members are appointed by commissioner districts, right? So we have 13 districts. We have Miami-Dade League of Cities, a representative that's appointed, and then we have a Miami-Dade mayor that's appointed. And so right now we have almost 40% vacancies on the trust.
And we're down 6 members.
We're down 6 members. And so further to what I was talking about earlier, when the citizens vote, when the voters voted for the half-penny surtax, they've also voted for the CITT.
Right.
So that we would be the watchdog to watch these surtax funds to make sure that it was used for the expansion of rapid transit, okay? And so we need to make sure that we have representation in the rest of the community so that we get the input from everyone.
Right.
Okay, and so it's my goal is now top priority to make sure that we go out into the community and we make sure that people know about the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust. We get other advocates for transit to become involved and to apply for that. So I'm looking forward to going out with you as our executive director, going to other elected officials, going to other leaders in the community, and going to anyone that we can, chambers of commerce that where we can go and we can market ourselves and make sure that we get proper representation. So that's probably the top goal right now. I would say other goals that are just as high in priority is making sure what we were talking about earlier is our municipalities that are receiving a quarter of the half-penny surtax, making sure that those funds are used properly. And one of the things I really enjoy about being on the trust is that just about every month we have municipalities come and they report to us on what they're doing with their share of the half-penny surtax, and it's basically broken down into transportation, mainly trolleys or now freebie systems. We're hearing a lot about freebie systems, which are very exciting.
Those are those on-demand transportation systems that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
Correct.
Right. And so what's very interesting is that we are learning from different municipalities what's working best for them. Yeah. And so I think we can kind of parlay that information. And what I kind of see is like these municipalities working together so that they can become integrated, so that there's some overlap, and that I love to use the example in District 4 of Bay Harbor, Bal Harbor, and Surfside, right? 3 kind of sister cities there in a very close proximity to each other. And they each have their own type of trolley system. Yeah. And so I think it would be really good if we could be able to learn from each of them so that people that live perhaps in Bay Harbor Island would be able to get to the Publix that's in the north part of Surfside on that same trolley system.
Yeah, I know, there are some members of the community that point to the fact that our 34 cities are all running their own transit systems in addition to what the county runs, and say that's not efficient, right? And that they're not necessarily well connected. The flip side is it's a living laboratory. You have 35 different entities trying different things and learning from each other. And as long as we could get them to really connect well to each other, not just physically, but through an app, right? So that from the user's perspective, I just want to get from A to B, I don't care who's running the service, then it works pretty well. And I love what the cities are doing for that reason. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and I will say that when it comes to no 2 cities are alike.
True. Very true.
Each city has, and by the way, and also in our unincorporated, no 2 areas are the same, and there are different needs in different areas. And so some cities really benefit from the intra-city, and some having the ability to connect is so important as well. So I think we need to do, they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
And I think that we want to make sure that we're servicing all end users, whether it's the workforce, whether it's the people who choose not to have a car, whether it's our senior community, whether it's, I can tell you, my niece and nephew are 21, they're twins, boy and girl, 21 years old, and neither of them got their driver's license until very recently.
Yeah.
It's a different time. I couldn't remember. I was 16. I couldn't wait.
We couldn't wait, right? Get a car and get out of the house.
I couldn't wait. But I think there is a culture shift,
Right.
and I think we can really try to learn, as you said. It's almost like their own. Each we can learn from each municipality and how they do it, and they can learn from the county and how we do it, and then I think we can ultimately. I think we all want the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
I agree. And further to your point, there seems to be this generational shift for not as much interest in driving. And so I think there's tremendous opportunity out there for our SMART plan, right? So our SMART plan is our 6 corridors that we're developing. And I think we're actually at a pivotal point right now after 2 generations that we're finally moving forward with some solid plans. We have the South Dade corridor, which is now under construction, right? So that's the first one that's really going to come to fruition. We have the Northeast corridor that we talked about, but other very exciting corridors that I think have a tremendous amount of possibility. And I'm very excited about it. It's at the top of my list, and that is the North corridor. I think through rapid transit zoning and through the TODs, we are going to be able to have a tremendous amount of possibility for growth in that area because we are growing. Miami-Dade County is continuing to grow, and I think that that's a great place where a lot of thoughtful development and design could, and incentives for developers to go in there to create affordable housing so that people can be able to get to work. It would foster our economic development. And so I see corridors like that as being the future.
And for those who may not be aware, so the North Corridor would essentially be 27th Avenue from the existing Metro Rail station all the way to the county line. It would connect, among other things, to the Hard Rock Stadium, right, where the Dolphins play.
That's correct. But it would also connect to, we have a lot of people that live in South Broward that commute.
Yeah.
So, although we're here for Miami-Dade County, we're really kind of South Florida regional.
Well, and we want them off the roads as much as we want
We do,
our own
because
residents.
they're suburban and they're coming in and they're driving
Exactly.
into our downtown
Exactly.
area. So
Yeah.
so we see some kind of connection also with Broward County.
So I'm glad you mentioned TOD. I've always said, transportation is one side of the coin, land use is the other, right? They're so interrelated. And both of you have backgrounds in real estate. And so, number one, I'd love for you to share with everyone what you do for a living in real estate, and then parlay that into how that connects to transportation, whether it's affordable housing, or building, at transit stations so that people can just walk to that station and not have to drive to it. Speak to that a little bit, if you don't mind, Commissioner.
Well, I was going to let Robert go first. No, but in terms of, to be honest, in the last year since I've been at the county, that's been pretty much my full-time job in terms of the day-to-day demand and the space it takes in your mind. I'm constantly thinking of how can I help and how can I improve. So I have my real estate license, but I really haven't been focused on that as much because the county has been my priority. But what you're saying is very important, because in order to plan this ecosystem and in order to plan a proper environment where we have a better quality of life, where we get people out of their cars and have walkability and transit, whether it's all corridors, I think it's important to have that infrastructure that's built around the trains, around the transit systems, whatever they are, and making sure that that's where we're focusing our energies to create, you almost create these town centers.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's something that from a planning perspective, obviously municipalities really have a strong sense of what their communities are like and what they should be like. And then in the county, the unincorporated areas, we have the ability to really also look at what we believe is going to work best. And I think together we can come with that fine recipe, that perfect recipe of making sure that we have that affordable, that's part of it too. We want to be resilient. It's not just from sea rise, but it's affordability.
Yeah, we want our kids to be able to live here, right?
Yes, I don't want my kids moving away. I want to be able to I'm raising them here. I want them to live here. I want them to have, and not just live here, I want them to have a good quality of life while they're here. I want them to enjoy and be proud that they live here, and as we all are. And I think one of those ingredients in that recipe is the workforce and affordable housing that needs to be built, is the transit, and is, of course, combating sea rise.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as a real estate background, we've seen a dynamic shift in real estate over the past few years. The land cost real estate's always been expensive, right? But it's always been relative. Interest rates are double what they used to be right now.
Insurance costs are through the roof.
Insurance costs are through the roof. Prices have not come down like we thought they were going to come down to make it more affordable. Historically, what my business model was to be able to offer affordable housing, but completely through in the private sector. So we would go and we would. So real estate is really about location, right? And so location, but location near transit, right?
Yes.
And so many years ago, there was development out west. And that's when we didn't have as much traffic as we have right now. So people are kind of migrating and interested back into our urban core. And so with that, we have to have proper transportation planning. My background was condominium conversions right in the backyard here. I've done thousands of units of affordable housing conversions next to Dayland North Station. And these are opportunities for the private sector really aren't available anymore. And this is where we really need a catalyst from the government to come in to create some of this affordable housing with opportunities that are in the transit-oriented development during our corridors of transportation. And so I really see that as being the future, and we really need to step up and work with these private-public partnerships so that we can continue to foster economic development in Miami-Dade.
Absolutely. So one of the things you referenced earlier in the conversation was bike bed, and we haven't touched on that in too much detail. So something I'm particularly excited about as someone who commuted by bike to work. Prior to the pandemic, I need to get back in the swing of those.
Okay, but did you have a regular bicycle or one of those electric assist
I started
bicycles?
with electric. I have to admit, I started with electric, and it almost killed me. That's a whole other story. And then I switched to regular. And it's actually nice, right, to be able to transition into that lifestyle. Having that electric to start really makes that transition easier. So, but yes, eventually get on a regular bike. It's better for your health.
Well, we have, by the way, now we have a great bicycle system, City Bike, on Miami Beach. And we now have a commissioner there that is proposing to bring in electric bikes.
Okay.
I was recently on the west coast of the country and went all the way up to Vancouver, where they have a phenomenal biking system and bicycle paths through Stanley Park up there. And I would say that about 40% of their bikes are electric bikes because they do have some topography there that's a little bit more challenging. Here we have a natural.
It's flat.
It's flat.
It's
easy to
it's
get
not
around.
snowing.
No,
Anytime soon.
Yeah. It's just
going the opposite. We're going in the opposite direction.
It's just a little hot in the summertime.
It does get a little warm. That's it. Showers are important. So I'm curious, what are some of the major initiatives that are going on in the district with respect to bike bed?
Actually, a lot of my municipalities, as they're planning through their comp plans and just looking at their environment, they're all incorporating bike lanes. And as I said, not just bike lanes and shared lanes. I believe they're also working towards protected bike lanes,
which is very important.
Which is, there's a distinction there.
There is.
And it's much safer. I know I would rather my kids be in a protected bike lane. And so they are looking at that. And I think that is part of our bigger mobility plan. I know at the county, we're also incorporating that. And I think, I think it's very interesting because I think every few years we need to almost take a look through a new lens and make sure that we are on the pulse of what's really happening, that we're really doing everything we can to make sure that we're looking with the eye towards the future. And what does that look like? And how do we want to, what does that big picture really look like? And how do we want to plan to actually make it a reality? Some of us have a finite amount of time to make sure things are actually going to happen.
Right.
And so it's exciting to get to roll up the sleeves and get to work on making all of those a priority. for the county and for my district in particular. I have such a great respect for all of my cities who on their own have taken initiatives. So for me, it's a matter of helping facilitate that and making sure that we are listening to what it is they need in terms of support. And, I'll have to get you to District 4 with your bicycle. And actually, a lot of my cities do a lot of special events,
Yes,
encouraging bike ride to school day, bike ride for the family day, and you have the community out there giving helmets to everybody and making sure that their tires are filled properly and that they know the safety, because you know what, just like anything else, you have to know how to not just ride a bike, but understand how to be safe when you're riding it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned Miami Beach a number of times, and I do have to
That's Robert's fault.
I love Miami Beach.
No, it's a wonderful city, and I do want to give them credit. I have to say, the city really takes the lead on a lot of mobility initiatives,
They do,
and
yeah.
Bike Ped in particular.
They
And I'm
really
going to
do.
give a shout out to Jose Gonzalez and Alina Hudak over there, who are some of my colleagues, for doing such a great job, in addition to all the elected officials who are truly visionaries when it comes to mobility. So thank you, and thank all of them for all their hard work.
Well, and we have a great bike path program through the rest of the county. We have the Commodore Trail, which is coming up, and we have Ludlam
which we
Trail.
invested some surtax funds
We did.
in,
We
yeah.
invested surtax funds in those. We have the Ludlam Trail. So we really have a comprehensive
Got the underline, of course.
countywide, of course,
Yeah, yeah.
and South Dade all the way down to Homestead.
South Day Trail is a big one.
Right, and that's exactly, the perfect way to. I think every part of the county at some point will be connected. Hopefully, well, we have the beach walk, right, that goes
Right.
along the
You have
coast.
the Atlantic Trail as well, I believe.
It's the Atlantic Greenway.
Yeah,
Atlantic Greenway, is
Yeah,
that what it's
the
called?
Atlantic
Okay, I
Greenway.
apologize.
Yeah, and now we have, and so the vision is to also create the Bay Walk, which we've got a lot.
Correct.
And Commissioner Steinberg was so instrumental when she was sitting on the commission.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. Tell me about the Baywalk. That sounds interesting.
Well, the Baywalk is actually very. I think the vision for Miami Beach was actually to have, and which they've done on the east side, right?
Right.
So we now have South Point Park. We're able to go from part of the Baywalk all the way around the South Point Park, and you're able to walk or bike or run all the way up through Miami Beach, through Surfside, and through Bal Harbor, and up to Haulover Beach.
and
So
we're
that's
gonna
the
be,
vision
and
of
we're
the
working
Greenway.
through Haulover Beach
That's
to
great.
get more. At the end of the day, it's about connectivity,
Yeah.
and it's connectivity can come in all shapes and forms. And so, I'm a big supporter of the more we can connect, whether it's over the bridge, along the coast, or, wherever it is. I think connectivity is so important, and what that looks like will always be shaped by the community. But ultimately, I think it's something that we all should strive for, because in all forms.
Yeah, it's really about, and that's
transportation.
first mile, last mile.
Yeah.
Of course.
Which is so integral and important to our SMART plan,
Yeah.
because our SMART plan, even though it's within the UDB, and we have those 6 corridors, but it's very important that we're able to get people to their final destination, whether that's through renting a bike or through a freebie or through on your feet, being able to do that first mile, last mile. So it's all a comprehensive spine. If you go to other cities when you travel, right? We're able to look at a lot of the successful things that they're able to do. When you fly into an airport, what's the first thing you do? You think about how you're going to get to where you're going to go.
Sure.
And a lot of cities have transportation system through rail, underground, albeit at most times we're not able to do that here. But don't ask me, Elon Musk, that. So there's a lot to learn from those, and so we have a lot to pick up on. We have a great system that's in place already, and something that's that we can work on, and which we're doing right now.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I really want to thank you for being my guest on this program. I wish we had more time, but I know we're a little constrained today. So, Commissioner, thank you for all that you do, and thank you for appearing on the program and making your way all the way here from the opposite end of the county. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I really appreciate you inviting me, and I look forward to coming back.
We'll have you back for sure. Mr. Chairman, thank you for appearing and for everything that you do. And I look forward to working with you in your new role as chair.
So do I. Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner
I'll be
Steinberg.
watching you.
Yes.
And folks, that is all the time we have here on Mobility Matters. We want to invite you to keep watching us. We're here every 2 weeks from 9 to 10 a.m. And, we're going to talk about transportation and other things related to it. We do also want to thank our partners in this endeavor, Miami's community newspapers, for hosting us and producing the program. And finally, if you are interested in becoming a member of the CITT, as you heard earlier, we have 6 vacancies. Please visit our website for more information. You can visit us at miamidade.gov/CITT. Thank you, and see you in 2 weeks.